I would say, to people, anybody really starting out, it's really focusing on your inside, who you are,
Mm.
and trying to figure that out first. I know you probably are in a situation where you're trying to generate income or whatever it is, but it won't change unless you change on the inside.
What's up, y'all? I got an amazing special guest with me here on the Carecast, and he's a former, or not a former. He's hopefully not a former. He's a fellow Carecast listener, just like you guys turned Carrot camper and now full-time investor. And I'm so pumped to have Jonathan Tran on here, guys. I'm going to fully introduce you to Jonathan Tran here in a second. But one of the things that I get the most excited about in business is, of course, getting leads and helping our clients do deals is ultimately what helps grow our business. If we don't do that well, of course, our business doesn't grow. But at the end of the day, the stuff that I like the most is connecting with our customers that really light up the people around them, that really are beacons of our core values up on the wall. And this was last year. We got a Carrot Camp submission from a guy named Jonathan Tran, and we connect with him. And Jonathan, quote me if I'm wrong. Were you? I can't remember. Were you the up and comer in that session, or were you? I can't remember. Were you up and comer in that session?
Yeah, I was the up and comer.
Cool. So each Carrot Camp, guys, we have one slot that we reserve for an up and comer. If we have someone who's really awesome that we want to bring in, it's got an amazing mindset, positive, that they're going to not just come in there and suck information out of people. They're going to also add value to people, even if it's their positivity and energy. And Jonathan was that guy, and we're like, we've got to get him in here. At that time, the income side of things didn't quite qualify, but now he's been crushing it the last 18 months. And guys, here's the big thing before I make the big introduction. He made a massive mindset shift somewhere in the last couple of years. We're going to kind of find out where that was. I started to see it on Instagram. He's following me on Instagram. I saw this massive mindset shift that he started working out really hard and losing weight and even posting really cool messages on Instagram to other people to motivate them. And then he came and started growing his business. And they're doing amazing things. We're going to break down what marketing is working for them, exactly what marketing is working, how they're getting all their deals, his journey, the whole thing. So Jonathan Tran, man, way past due having you on the podcast, but man, welcome on the Carecast.
Man, excited to be here. I'm just so grateful for you, Trevor, and just this is amazing. I'm so excited and pumped to be on this.
So you guys can see, like, if you guys are just listening to the audio version of this on iTunes or whatever, go to YouTube, go subscribe to our YouTube channel. Just type up YouTube and then Carrot or whatever, and you'll find us. Because what I want you guys to see is just like the energy that you can see and hear coming through Jonathan. And it's like, that's important, y'all. That's important. A lot of opportunities that I have had is because I show up with energy in certain things. And also, you know what? Some opportunities I've lost is because I didn't. And I can tell you right now that that's one of the big things that attracted me to you, Jonathan, is just the energy and zest for life. And I love it, man. So never lose that. Never lose that.
Man, thank you. I appreciate that.
But let's give people some context. So who are you? Where do you live? What's your business look like right now? Then after that, we'll dive into your story. But who are you? Where do you live? What's your business look like right now?
Yeah, so my name is Jonathan Tran. I live in San Diego, California, and our market is in Racine, Wisconsin, Racine and Kenosha. So it's a small little market just about 30 minutes south of Milwaukee. And our business is, we are mainly buy and holds. We're mainly using the BRRRR method and using private money to acquire and also fund rehabs and then refinance with the bank.
Yeah. Dude, quick question, because this is probably what people are asking. So you live in San Diego,
Yeah.
and you're in Racine, Wisconsin, dude. How did you guys pick that market? Like, first of all, let's get that elephant out of the room. How do you guys pick that market?
Yeah. So I think this is an incredible part of our story. And so I'm Vietnamese. And when my parents immigrated here, they immigrated at the end of the Vietnam War. And it was just at the turn. So it was like 1975. My mom was coming over here. She was about 18 years old. And we were sponsored through a church in Racine, Wisconsin. And a group of the church members came together and helped us to reestablish a life in America. And we've stayed really close and connected with a specific family. And they still live there. And so Racine has been kind of a home for us. It was the first place that, we were able to call home. And it's incredible because this family really became like the father figure. And so a year after we immigrated here, or my mom and her parents, my grandfather actually passed away in a car accident.
Oh man.
And so my grandmother was 40 years old and had 7 kids and didn't speak any English. And only living in America for a year. So this family really stepped up, and it just showed us love that, just strangers can love you. And it's amazing.
Dude. So it sounds like did you live there? So you lived in Racine, it sounds like.
I never did.
You never
personally?
did?
No, okay. I never did. But my brother and sister did. So
okay.
I'm 30 years old.
Yep.
And my brother is 11 years older than me, and my sister is 12 years older than me.
Yeah.
So there's a big age gap there, but they got to live there for a little bit and experience that.
Awesome. So they've got the connection there, and we'll get into this here in a little bit. That one of your business partners is your older brother, and so we'll get into that. We'll get into partnerships and how do you guys make it work, especially being family. So we'll get into that in a little bit. But so you guys had that connection already. He knew the market. You have connections there locally still, and it's obviously a good market for rentals. It's not San Diego where it's going to cost a lot more to buy a rental to try to make that work.
That's right.
Cool. Awesome. So dude, let's kind of dive in a little bit more back into the backstory. Before I do though, so people are probably saying, hey, what am I going to get out of this podcast? Right. Well, the first thing here, kind of like the sexy number stuff, right? I mean, they were able to acquire 10 rentals in the past 18 months, over $350,000 in equity over the past 18 months alone. There's a couple wholesales in there, I think, that you guys did.
JVs.
JVs and stuff like that, which is great. But it's mainly buying and kind of like what I talk about, stacking bricks, right? Where you can stack bricks in the marketing side with content. That's what we do. We create content. You put them out there. It's up there forever. And then it gains momentum. Eventually you have your leads coming to you. But the same thing happens with your income, right? You stack bricks, you buy rental properties, you buy assets to produce income. And at the start, there's not a lot there. But as you keep on stacking bricks, it starts building up and eventually catches big time momentum. And you look back and go, man, I'm so glad I started building that wall earlier. So we'll talk about that here in a bit. But guys, $350K in equity in 18 months, 10 rentals, using about 5 or 6 different marketing methods. We'll break down how that happened. But let's go back to the life side of things, man, because that's what interests me in a big way. So when you and I first connected, it was on Instagram. And guys, I answer all my Instagram messages. My assistant does all my email, and I go in there and check some of it. But Instagram is where I answer everything. Facebook is a little harder for me. There's so much action going on over there. I get so many messages over there, I can't handle them. But Instagram's good. And so Jonathan and I were connecting. He kept on commenting on things, and we were shooting some DMs back and forth. And I would see just the transformation that was happening in him in that moment, where he was posting videos during his workouts. He was posting motivational things that he was going through with his own mindset at that time. So let's kind of go back into that time in your life, Jonathan. Where were you at in life before you started to make this mindset shift, this transition into where you are now? Who were you before? And kind of like the exercise we did at this last Carrot Camp. So who were you before, and who did you want to become? And what was that kind of nexus that shifted for you, that made it shift?
Yeah. So before, I guess this would be, I just gotten out of college. I just graduated right before we started our business. And I was already in a big shift in my life, right? The post-graduation kind of thing. And I was no longer a student, and I've kind of lost my identity as being a student. And I'm a late graduate. I was 28 years old when I graduated. So I was in college for 10 years and, just kind of cruising my way through. And it really became a big part of my identity and who I was. And once I'd left that and lost that, I kind of lost myself. And I kind of was just, I find myself just laying in bed for hours, and I would lay there and not even want to start my day because I didn't know where I was going and what was next. And there's just so much fear and worry and anxiety in my mind. And, it came to the point where we were in our business and we started working. And so I was kind of starting to move towards something, right? A goal of some sort. And I've been your customer, and I started following you on Instagram. And when you'd posted about the habit tracker, I was like, man, I got to try this out.
Yep.
If Trevor's doing it, I'm going to do it. And so you sent it to me, and we have done it. And just right away, that because you implement like a lot of a lot of books talk about the miracle morning and waking up and doing the savers, which is what's it, scribing, which is journaling, affirmations, visualization, reading, exercise.
Yep.
And once I put those in, I felt an immediate shift. It was just, it felt so good. And I wanted to continue that.
Dude, isn't it wild? Because I think we all have our own version of that, right? Where I heard a quote from a coach of mine. He goes, usually when you start to kind of fall into that stupor, that depression, whatever it is, and it's very common also with entrepreneurs, where I think a lot of people look at successful entrepreneurs and think, man, when I get there, everything's going to be just golden, and life is just going to be, there's going to be no flaws in life at all. The funny thing is, a lot of really successful people that I know, they go through those same cycles of entrepreneurial depression, or whatever you want to call it. And it's not tied to money. That's the funny thing. I've got a good friend in a group that I'm in. He nets $1 million a month. Okay. So like he's doing great. But it's about 4 or 5 months ago, he hits us up and he goes, guys, I'm just in a massive funk. Like I just kind of feel depressed. And most people who are not there yet look at that and go, how could that be? And I kind of go back to this quote that I heard from my coach. He said, man, whenever you run out of runway with your vision, like you're at the end of the runway with your vision, and you're looking out there and the runway's stopped, and you're like, I don't know where I'm going now. That's when you run into those. And that's where it sounds like you were at that point. And so then you had a trigger, something happened. You saw some stuff that we were putting out, which that's awesome. If we were one of your triggers, I love it. That's why we do this podcast. It pumps me up. And if anyone's curious about the habit tracker, you guys can get the same thing. Just go to carrot.com/habits, carrot.com/habits, download my habit tracker. There's a video there where I show you how to use it. The same one Jonathan saw on Instagram a year and a half ago or so. And it's carrot.com/habits. But you plugged into it. Now here's the difference, man, between you and most people. Most people are going to get it, and then they're going to use it for a week or so, and then they're going to go do something else, and then they're going to stay in that stupor forever. So what was it for you that kind of made it so you actually said, man, I'm going to stick with whatever it is I'm going to move forward on. I'm not just going to try something and then go back into the way I was. I'm taking steps forward. I'm not going to look back. Why is it that you chose to make that step and you didn't look back?
I think it's something I actually learned through past failures. I feel like, obviously, with the whole weight loss thing, I'm currently sitting at about 190. I used to weigh 250 pounds, and and the first time I made a step towards losing weight was back in 2012. So I was 22 years old, and I know that feeling of taking a step forward and not looking back, and just staying committed to it. And so this was kind of a similar thing. I'm like, I know that I want to move towards something else. And I know that if I just do a little bit of it, it's not going to work. I have to do it for as long as I can, and the longer the better.
Yep.
And that's how I made the step towards it.
Dude, so what were some of the biggest struggles that you had? Like morning routines, waking up, eating, water, like what were some of the biggest struggles you had? And were there any keys that made it work for you? I know for me, kind of one of those keystone habits that I had to shift, it was being a person who said, I'm not a morning person, I'm a night owl, I do my best work at night, to becoming someone excited about mornings. Once that happened, it's like, oh man, most everything changed in my life. What were the big kind of keystone shifts for you that made everything work?
I was very similar too. It was very hard for me to wake up in the morning, and I had I downloaded like some mobile video game, and for some reason I couldn't get off of it. And, and it sounds so silly.
Yeah, they build them to be addictive.
They make
man.
them exactly.
Yeah.
They're just pinging away, and you get like treasures and stuff you open up, and every day you want to do so they know how to get you for sure.
Yep.
And so removing that was definitely a big thing to actually succeed. When you're in these habits that are holding you back from who you want to be, and because who I want to be isn't someone who wastes hours playing video games.
Yep.
So being able to remove that and recognizing that there's something greater, and this is not taking me to the greater place.
Dude, that's big right there. So guys, I want everyone to kind of reverse that, the last 30 seconds to listen to this again. So one thing that Jonathan did there was he had goals and things, but he didn't just go, what do I need to add in my life? He goes, what do I need to take away? That when I take that away, hopefully the things I want to add will fill that void, right? Like that's a big key. Take away the things that are not serving you. And then the things that you actually want to do will likely fill the void instead of trying to add it on top. Dude, I love it. Good stuff. So you started doing that. I saw you working out. You were doing all kinds of cool stuff. You've lost 60 pounds, which is amazing. And then let's go to the real estate side of things now. So at that time, had you already partnered with your brother in the real estate business, or was that sometime in the future?
Yeah, so he was the one that actually got me into it. And
Okay.
like I said, I just graduated college and I was actually on the path to applying for PA schools. And I think your wife's a PA,
Yeah,
right?
she's a PA. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
And so I was definitely thinking about that path. It made sense. I was a kinesiology major and I enjoyed science and it just seemed to fit.
Mm.
And I was working for a clinical research. I was working for an orthopedist doing clinical research,
Mm.
mainly knee studies.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
And ironically, I have knee problems now. So, and my brother had just like was telling me, "Hey, I'm gonna quit my job and I'm gonna start this real estate investing business." And I was just like, "What? You're crazy!" Because he was making, he was comfortable. He's making $80,000 a year. He was an executive at a Hard Rock Hotel as an accountant, and he doesn't have his degree at all. And so he was able to, and that's impressed me because that showed me how smart he is and how capable he is of achieving something without a piece of paper.
Dude. Yeah.
But for him, he was capped out and he couldn't go up anymore because he doesn't have a degree, and he'd always get beat out by somebody who does.
Gotcha.
So that's why he wanted to start this investing, and he showed me podcasts. He sent me a Carrot Cast.
Oh, so he got you into the carrot world, huh? No, awesome, man.
Yeah, he was the one. He's like, "Hey, listen to this. This is what they're doing." And then,
cool.
Of course, Max Maxwell and all these other real estate podcasts. And I started listening to it, and I was like, "Man, this sounds pretty cool." And like, "Do you need any help at all?" And he was just like, "Yeah, I could use some help." And so that was the thing. I was like, and I always had in the back of my mind, I didn't feel like healthcare was where I wanted to be. It just felt like the right path. It felt like it fit, but it wasn't really what I wanted. And it was hard for me to kind of figure out was I wanting to leave because, I didn't want to stay in it, or was I really wanting to leave because it wasn't something that fit what I wanted to do.
Dude, and that's so tricky, right? Because I know I was going through that early on, kind of what do I want to do? And you always hear like, hey, chase your passion and, build a business out of your passion and stuff. And I still believe in that, but I think it's bad advice for most people because most people have a hard time building a business out of their passion. Like I love mountain biking, I love golf and certain things like that, but I just couldn't figure out how to make a business in that. And in all my other businesses before that, they weren't that. And so I gave myself a hard time saying, man, I'm not building a business out of my passion. I must be doing it wrong. Instead, I've built a business that fuels my passion and got amazing people around me and made it a fun business. And that's the part that I think should be amazing. That's a whole sidetrack combo. But so your brother hit you up, sent into the Carrot Cast, started to dive down that route. By that time, had he closed any deals yet, or was he still trying to figure out things?
No, well, those are part of our Craigslist deals. So initially, he was looking on Craigslist first, and we hadn't done any marketing. Yep. Cool. And so he was already talking to a couple people, listing their properties on Craigslist. But yeah, and that's when we started into once I started in, we purchased Carrot first, and then kind of tried to figure out how do we set up our website and get that rolling. But and I actually want to talk about. So I want to mention that you're talking about passions, and everybody always says follow your passions, and that was similar to me. I was like, I don't know what my passion is, and it was getting really frustrating for me that I couldn't figure it out. And I was like, how do all these people know? But then I started to think like, my passion, I feel like, is an emotion. It constantly changes.
Yep.
And I want to be able to follow wherever it goes. And I don't have a set passion.
Dude, that's such a good point. It's funny, at a previous Carrot Camp, so me, Dustin, who owns a big flipping company in Utah. And I think it might've been Kylie. It was me and a couple of people for sure. We were sitting here in the office eating lunch at Carrot Camp, and that topic got brought up, a passion. And dude, I'm 100% agreement with you, where originally I felt passion was an activity, right? It was like, I'm passionate about these activities, golf, mountain biking, this thing, that thing. And dude, you're spot on. It's like, as soon as I started to realize that passion is more of a state of being, it's a state of emotion. It's the way that I feel. I feel passionate rather than this is my passion. That changed it for me, right? Because then like you're saying, you can feel passionate in lots of different types of jobs that are not your passion. You know, I'm not passionate about leads or SEO or website or real estate. I think they're all great tools, right? Just like I love hammers and I love screwdrivers because they help me do that job really well. I've just gotten really good at these things. But what I have found passion in is this stuff, is the ability that this company gives me to connect with a lot of people that I can help change their lives. That's what I'm passionate about. I love that side of things. So dude, that's such a good distinction. Guys, write that down. The passion is more of an emotion. It's a feeling that you get when you do things that you are fired up about. It's not a thing. It's not an activity. Dude, I love that. Good stuff. So dude, let's go to the marketing side now. So you and your brother joined forces. You brought up the Craigslist thing. So I wrote down some notes before we hopped in the call, and I'm just going to read, I'm going to spitball some of this stuff, and correct me if I'm wrong in it. But you started listing off some of the things that you guys had done with your marketing, and we'll go into specifics here in a bit. But you're using Facebook ads, right? Driving to your Carrot site. You've got deals through that. We'll talk about that. Direct mail in the past, you got deals out of that, and there's a pretty good cost per deal. Google ads, you've got 4 deals through that. And then Google organic, you've got some action through that. And then Craigslist, which it sounds like that's kind of where you guys started, because it's hustle mode at that time. It's like, I've got time, but not a lot of budget. What did your brother do on the Craigslist side to pull out those first couple deals?
He was just going through and looking for sale by owners and trying to see, what kind of made sense. And he would reach out to them, talk to them a little bit, try to build rapport. And, it's interesting because we kind of get this imposter syndrome and we feel like we need to be an expert. But I learned a lot from him when he approached our first deal, and he told him right away, I'm a new investor. I've never bought a house, but I would love to buy yours. And I'm just really hungry for my first deal. And it ended up being that, the guy liked him so much, and my brother was so straight up and honest with him that he was actually trying to help us to buy his house. And so he was working with his numbers with us because he saw that we were hungry and was just like, maybe we can make something work.
Dude, that's so cool. It reminds me of a phrase a buddy of mine, Ben Settle, says called making the skeleton dance. And this is important, guys. So for like all of you newer investors that just heard what Jonathan said, it's a concept called making the skeleton dance. So he said that everybody has skeletons in the closet, right? And I'm talking like not personal skeletons, but marketing ones, right? Where we go, man, this is a thing I don't want people to find out, because if they do, I think it will be a negative thing on me. I don't want them to find out I'm a new investor and haven't done a deal. I don't want them to find out that I'm going to be making a low offer. I don't want them to find out blah. I don't want them to find out blah. And the funny thing is, when you actually, like, the bad thing is if people find your skeletons, if you act like you're experienced and you come and they end up finding out that you're not, your trust and credibility just sinks through the floor. Like, it's gone. If they find your skeletons, your trust and credibility is gone. They won't work with you. But instead, if you open that door and you take the skeleton out and set it in front of them and make it dance, you're making that thing a sales point, which is exactly what your brother did. Hey, this thing that all these other people are scared about when they're getting started, to tell someone that I haven't done a deal yet, he took it out as a selling point, which I love, man. So that's a big mindset shift for people. Make the skeleton dance, guys. That's cool. So you guys got the first couple done through Craigslist and through For Sale by Owner, just emailing people in there. Your other business partner, which we'll get into here in a bit, that you met at an event from some guys you met at Carrot Camp that our Carrot Cast listeners are definitely familiar with, Adam Johnson and Brent Moreno. But I talked with him at Max's event here in Atlanta, and he brought up some things. I dove into Craigslist in a big way with him. Guys, use For Sale by Owner and just daily email 20, 30, 40, 50 those people. Create a template in your Gmail and click the email button, then template that thing in. click send, and then send it out to 20, 30, 40, 50 a day, depending on how big your market is. And you might send to the same people, sometime, but then also you can go in there into the for rent by owner section. Like for rent by owner is amazing because they're going through a process that no landlord likes to go through, which is trying to find a tenant. It's a vacant unit, and that's when the biggest pain is usually. Another thing that you can do inside the for sale by owner, and your brother probably did this, but you can go and search. You can search keywords that would show motivation. Put the word motivation in there, or motivated, fire damage, fixer upper, all these types of phrases in the search box. It's going to filter down all the for sale by owners with more motivated type of phrases. And then those are the ones you email. Guys, there's deals in Craigslist, but people don't want to put in the work to do it. Dude, so Craigslist, you guys got the first couple deals, and then let's kind of dig into the rest of your marketing mix. From there, what did you guys start doing, and what are you guys doing now to close those deals and get more rentals in your portfolio?
Mm-hmm. So we started with direct mail and Facebook. So once we'd sign up for Carrot, you guys offer so much, training and information. Some is paid, some is free. And so we purchased your 3 leads per day. Mm-hmm. Started doing that, and obviously that's kind of more of a long-term kind of thing.
Yep.
And then we purchased your Facebook masterclass as well with Kylie. So I learned how to use Facebook. And then we just started implementing the trainings, and it was very direct mail was great, and we got a response right away. Facebook, we got a lot of good responses because our market is so small, and nobody is marketing on Facebook. So it was totally new and totally novel. And so we were getting a lot of, this is a scam. And also, but we were also getting a lot of leads out of it too. I think in this past 18 months, we generated 198 leads total. And that's just raw, there could be duplicates.
Yep.
But what we noticed was we were getting a ton in the beginning, and then it died off really quick. And we were doing a lot of interrupt style marketing where you're just interrupting their experience on Facebook. And so today we're not doing direct mail as much. We definitely got a good return, but we felt that we didn't want to be handling because you have to filter out a lot of leads for direct mail.
Yeah.
Right. There's a lot of not as good ones. And Facebook was similar too, but they come through pretty quick, and but we still haven't figured out Facebook yet. I don't feel like we figured it out.
Yeah.
We're definitely on the path towards it, and we're still working on it.
Yep.
But so today we're doing Facebook mostly for retargeting. We're doing Google PPC, and then we're doing SEO, and we're still doing ads on Craigslist too.
Cool. I love it. And dude, if you're cool with it, we'll kind of break down some of this stuff. Are you cool if I kind of read off some things that we talked before? So on the Facebook marketing side of things, you guys got 5 deals, and your total cost for ads that brought those in is about $28K. So let's divide that out to kind of look at your cost per deal there. So $28,000. And a lot of people would look at this, go, man, $20,000, that's crazy. But guys, here's the deal. That's a $5,600 cost per deal. Now, if you're going to do Google pay-per-click in Dallas or something like that, you're going to be somewhere between a $4,000 to $5,500 cost per deal anyway. You're right there. If you're going to do direct mail, oftentimes you're somewhere between the $3,000 and $6,000 cost per deal. So could those numbers be brought down a little bit? Yeah, totally. They definitely could. But the cool thing is it's not out of bounds from what could make a deal work, your $5,600 cost per deal. On those ones, did you hold those properties, or what'd you guys end up doing with those 5?
Our first one, so our first Facebook deal was actually a flip.
Cool.
And that was it actually ended up being kind of like one of the unicorn deals where we acquired the property for $75K. And he'd only been living there for about 1.5 years, but he wanted to move like 2.5 hours away, and he was really dead set on that. And so we purchased for 75. He'd done actually a lot of work on the outside already, so we didn't even really have to touch that. And then we just remodeled the inside a little bit, and it ended up selling for 148.
Dude,
we probably put about 20,000, 30,000 in work. So yeah, it was definitely a unicorn deal. But then, of course, next 4 months we had nothing.
Yeah.
It's funny how those work out like that.
Dude, so essentially that one deal covered a little more than covered. Yeah, definitely more than covered all of your Facebook ad spend. So then the next 4 deals that came out of it were essentially free. I mean, quote unquote free, right?
Mm.
And then direct mail pulled in 3 deals early on, about a $6,500 total cost. So what is that? About $2,200 per deal there. And that might be something. I mean, I guess a good question for you there. You explained some of the reasons why you guys stopped. Is that something you guys are considering turning direct mail back on, or is it kind of like, hey, we're just really going to focus in on the online side more?
Yeah, I think and it's true. You have to be really consistent and
Mm-hmm.
really focusing on a certain marketing method. And we found that we weren't able to be consistent with direct mail.
Mm.
It's easy to be consistent with mailing them out, but then also following up with them, and
Yeah.
that's the part where we were inconsistent with.
Yep.
And because direct mail is, you really have to follow up with those, and because you came to them and they didn't come to you.
Mm-hmm.
Where Google PPC, it's a lot. Google, they're coming to you for an answer, so those leads are usually more intent. So
Yep.
it's easier to follow up with those.
Dude, I love it. So we'll jump to that because that's the next one on the list. So Google AdWords or Google Ads, 4 deals. So then you guys added that part of it on. Let's kind of break down that down a little bit. When I was at the event in Atlanta, I talked to 2 different people that said, man, Google Ads don't work. And I said, they definitely work. Let's do some math together, right? So I pulled them to the side and grabbed a piece of paper and we did some good old fashioned math. And
Yeah.
the math that I did is just the basic math I've done a million times in the Carrot Cast. I've done on our whiteboard videos, but it's starting with what's your average profit per deal, how many leads does it take to close one of those deals? How much would you trade in marketing to get one of those deals? Da 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 da. And at the end of the day, they just weren't paying enough. And their ads, there's one guy was driving to a Wix website, which was just brutal. So that alone is probably killing his ads instead of driving to a high converting Carrot site. And then the other guy just didn't have a good ad campaign. It was just wacky. So what did you guys do on the Google Ads side of things to make it work? And is it still working for you as far as, is it getting you the cost per deals that you're looking for to make it profitable for you guys?
Yeah. So when I got started on it, so the coaching calls is where I learned how to do Google Ads.
Cool.
And, it's so funny because I remember the number. It's coaching call number 135 was the one that I learned all of the Google Ads stuff. And there's been more that have come up that have been a lot better, or maybe not a lot better, but there's more other ones that provide a lot of value too on starting a campaign.
Cool.
So getting that started, and then also attending the coaching calls, and I did a live critique with Brandon and Adrian, and they really helped me to optimize our campaign. And it's hard because it's one of those things where leads aren't coming in all the time, but the quality of those leads are just so good, and you just have to be patient and let them run.
Yep.
But Google is my favorite marketing channel.
Oh,
Absolutely.
yeah.
That's our best return. It's like we closed 4 deals in this last year on Google PPC. And again, it doesn't sound like a lot, but our market is so small. It's 150,000 people across 2 cities. But we closed 4 deals from them. We only spent $3,500 on Google Ads. And so that's a cost per deal of $875.
Dude, that's
so
amazing.
Google absolutely works. Absolutely works.
It does. It does. So when you guys did it, and let me kind of unpack this a little bit, because people might be saying, hey, what are the coaching calls? So you're on one of the plans that has our weekly coaching call access. And you know what, dude, this is the funny thing. So we have thousands of customers, thousands of people on those plans. We get a very minuscule, small fraction of people showing up to the coaching calls. And the funny thing is, they'll come to us and say, hey, this isn't working, that isn't working. And we're like, the framework is all there. There's likely a couple tweaks you guys need to make. That, just like the analogy I always have is if Emeril Lagasse has like his signature dish, and he gives you the recipe for the signature dish, like all of the ingredients are in there, and even tells you how much to put in, like how much to bake this thing for, whatever. You could do the recipe and it will not be like Emeril's likely, right? But if Emeril stands next to you and you have the recipe, and then you start to put this thing in, he goes, whoa, wait, not yet. Like, wait 5 more seconds to do that thing. Like, that's the key. That makes it really fluffy. Or, you know what, do it this way, not that way. That's where that expert factor comes in. And that's where those coaching calls are so valuable, guys. So if you are a core member, you guys don't have access to coaching calls, upgrade. That alone is going to be worth way more money than you're ever going to pay for that $50 a month upgrade. if you do have one of the plans as coaching calls, content for advanced marketing, get on the darn coaching calls. Like this stuff works. This stuff works. So got this stuff dialed in. You're about $800 per deal in a very, very small market. What are you finding when you're hopping on the phone with those leads versus, let's say those direct mail leads? How are the sellers when you're working with them? Are they more motivated? You already talked about they're your higher margin deals. Kind of compare those two types of leads with your experience and why you're doubling down on the online side now.
Yeah, so I mean, again, they're going to Google to search and answer. That's how that's how they saw our ad. They searched how to sell my house fast, or we buy houses, the typical search terms, and they're deals that you probably didn't have on a list. So we got a probate one where he lives in Florida and his mom passed away, and he didn't want to deal with it and just was trying to find an easy solution. And so he Googled us, and it was just an easy sale. Another great one we'd gotten from there was we purchased a house for $8,000 because the same thing. His parent I think it was his dad that passed away, and he didn't live in the city. So it's kind of hard because he's not the one on the title, right? So you can't mail him.
Ah, gotcha. Yep.
Yeah. So that's something a list won't get, but where Google Ads will pick up those.
Dude, that's awesome. That right there is an amazing mindset shift for people, right? Where these are people that are seeking out a solution, and they're active in trying to find it. So they're going to answer the phone. They're going to be more active in trying to get the solution taken care of. And then you've got some Google organic stuff that you guys are starting to do. Have you guys got any traction with that? Have you guys got a deal for organic yet?
Yeah, so we gotten 2 deals through organic search.
Okay.
Yeah, and those are the greatest return, obviously, because it costs nothing. But total, I was looking at it. We'd gotten 16 leads from organic and direct, and then we closed 2 of those. So that's a 12.5% conversion on those.
Dude, that's really good. 1 in 8. So kind of in comparison, direct mail, you're probably going to see 1 in 20 to 1 in 40. Radio, TV, it's going to be somewhere between 1 in 30 to 1 in 50 leads into a deal. Google AdWords, Google Ads now, I guess to call it, but it's a little bit, it can range. It's usually somewhere between 1 in 10 and 1 in 20. Then organic is somewhere between that 1 in 8 to 1 in 20 kind of range also. Yeah. So it's just much higher motivation there. Dude, one thing that you mentioned at Carrot Camp, and you mentioned it here a little bit too on the Facebook ads. There were some people saying, "Hey," because they hadn't seen it in that market yet. They were saying, "Hey, this is a scam," which it's clearly not, right? Where there's people that could be their friends or family that are saying, "Hey, that's a scam," right? They're planting these little seeds of doubt. But there's amazing, legit operators like yourself that are going out there and truly solving people's problems. That those sellers could not be helped as well with an agent by listing it on the MLS or maybe at all. And so that's where investors like you are coming in and truly providing an amazing service. So you talked about something called omnipresence at Carrot Camp, just how you're getting, you got a Facebook video out in front of people that started to change their minds. What did you do there? And what impact did it have on those people that started to reach out to you on Facebook?
Yeah, so I think, so I was talking about omnipresence, and the story was we'd gotten a deal and we'd done a testimonial with her. And I thought the lead actually came from our website. I thought she Googled us and then she called our website tracking number. And then when I'd gone to do the testimonial, I'd asked her, "So how did you hear about us?" And she said, "Facebook." And I was just like, that didn't line up. And then she's like, "Yeah, I was following all your ads and I was watching you comment to responding to people, and I loved all your comments and your responses." And so she'd been engaging with us, or she'd been watching our ads for 3 months, never engaging once, never liking. But she'd already known that we were the solution for her. And so, and it just so happened, it was good timing too, that she'd fallen into a situation where she was buying her dream home from a friend. And they'd moved right in, and before they'd even sold their last house, and they already had, envisioned us to be the buyers for that house.
No way, man.
The easiest transaction probably possible. And but so we did the testimonial, and we started promoting that as well on Facebook. And that's when somebody commented, "This is a scam. Don't do this." And one of her friends actually saw that and said, "No, I know them. They're not. This is not. They're really good people."
Hmm.
And then her husband saw that and they're like, "Yeah, I know them. They're good." And then the actual customers were just like, "Yeah, we're real. We can like tell you." And so they're commenting back on this person that's talking bad about us, and I didn't have to do anything.
Dude. That right there is so powerful. And that's such a good lesson. So guys, if you guys get testimonials from your clients and they're insanely happy with working with you and you upload this to Facebook, ask permission from that person, even if they can go check out the video. What I would do is say, hey, is it okay if I send you a link to this video ad once it's online so you can look at it and check it out and approve it? Now, what I'm trying to do is get them to go over to it to see it online, and maybe they'll like it, maybe they'll comment on it, right? Now they know it's there. And that's so powerful, right? Getting them to engage in it. Yours happen organically, but most don't. Most don't even know that you're posting these on Facebook, guys. So let your clients know, hey, I'd love for you to go check it out and approve it. And like, that's what I would say. Here's the link to it. Go check out and approve it. And if you feel when you're over there, make a little comment on it, just so people know, because some other people didn't believe this is a real service. I'd love for them to get the same level of service that you did. It's amazing because there's so many limiting beliefs and objections that are going through people's minds that are your sellers that aren't real, that they hear from other people. They hear from a real estate agent who doesn't know what they're talking about, where a lot of real estate agents are still misinformed and undereducated on what house buyers do. Now, what you're going to see a lot moving forward is agents are going to have to get educated on this because it's not going away. It's only going to get bigger with iBuyers coming in and just the house buyer industry is getting bigger. So agents have to now they can't ignore this and say, oh, that's a scam. Oh, they're going to rip you off. That's not the case, y'all. Yeah, there's little instances here and there in any industry, including agents who are not honest, right? Every industry has them. But by far, investors are just an amazing service for people. So dude, that's awesome. I love it right there. So one quick question for you here. So you guys have acquired some amazing properties the last 18 months, 350K in equity, 10 rental properties, all that. What are your goals moving forward, Jonathan? Now we'll kind of turn the stages here, and you can ask me questions too. But what are your goals moving forward this next 18 months? And what's in your way right now? Like, what do you feel is in your way business-wise to hitting that?
So I'm definitely following, I guess, my brother's vision, right?
Mm-hmm.
So he's a 75% owner of the company, and definitely he's steering the ship.
Yep.
And we have a goal of trying to acquire 120 properties total, and just something for passive, and I guess our struggles right now is obviously we're not producing income since we're generating wealth.
Yep.
And so I'm sitting here also not really struggling. Like, I'm not uncomfortable. My brother is supporting me and helping me to really focus on being a better marketer. And I'm just so grateful to him and having him to give me this opportunity, because I don't have to worry about normal income things. I can really just focus on developing myself and my skills.
Yep.
And it's just so nice to have somebody who's willing to let me fail on his dime,
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's really great. And it also makes me want to do well, because it's not my money, obviously. But I guess in the future, I'm trying to do things that are more income producing for myself, because I'm 30 years old. I want to be independent and not live off my family, my brother. And but yeah, and that's kind of why we've started branching out into other markets.
Cool.
It wasn't intentional. We partnered because we liked the people who they were and what their values were, and it seemed to align really well. And hopefully we'll do more deals with them and partner with them and generate income in that sense as well.
I like it, dude. So have you, I'm sure you guys have thought about it, but have you guys seriously thought about wholesaling some of the deals, or is the play 100%? Hey, let's definitely, all of them are going to be rentals that we're going to pick up, unless it's just a home run for a flip or something like that. But a lot of the investors that we'll talk to, they have some sort of ratio, right? Like we're gonna wholesale 2 deals, and then we're gonna buy one outright, free and clear. And I know the BRRRR method is not that. It's an amazing method. It's just not that method I talked about. And a lot of it, of course, is based off of loans and stuff where you're a little bit more leveraged. But kind of, is there any aversion to doing more wholesale deals, or is it like, I would rather just buy the properties and hold them instead of wholesaling?
Yeah, we've definitely thought about that, but it seems to, and we usually end up flipping them or trying to flip them. But
Mm,
of
yep.
course, we get burned in that sometimes. You know, not
Yeah.
every deal comes out amazing.
Hmm.
We recently flipped a property and made 10,000, and we might have been able to wholesale that and made the same.
Yep.
So it spent a lot of time and stress and effort into that. But we also considered too, like if we were to acquire the properties, in the case that we do need income, we could just sell the rental.
Hmm.
So where we might not be wholesaling it, we would be able to sell it for retail since
Yep.
we rehabbed it anyways. And we have, we live in California where there's people who are generating income and they have money, but they don't know what to do with it. They don't know how to
Mm.
invest it. So we have friends and family too that want to invest in rentals, and
Ah.
it's almost becoming like we're becoming a turnkey business as well, but
Mm.
not really in that sense. It's mainly been selling to my sister.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, and
Cool.
it kind of, we never really come across an instance where it would make sense for us to wholesale it.
Here's one thing, dude. I think this applies to everybody, and that's so important. So if you learn marketing, y'all, like if you learn marketing, you have an open ticket to go like make your own income in any business you want to do. And I have so many people that reach out to me and they're wanting to know how to build this business, and they're trying to do everything but trying to learn how to do marketing. They're learning all the strategies and how to structure deal. They're learning all the strategy and this and that. But the one most important strategy of all of it in a type of business, it's not like a product creation business, right? Like Tesla is in product creation. Marketing took care of itself because they created a great product. A great marketer couldn't have came in and made Tesla, right? So I'm talking about businesses that are based off intellectual property or off of essentially arbitrage, which real estate is, right? You've got assets, you've got people. We're going to connect the two. We're going to make money by providing a service. That's arbitrage. Okay. So what happens is most people think I'm going to focus on how to do this activity instead of learning how to do marketing. Y'all, unless you're in product creation, Apple, Tesla, care on the software side of things, marketing is your business. Okay, like that is your business. Even on the carrot side of things, we've got to have an amazing product, but then marketing, it is the thing that fuels it. And so if you guys are listening to this and you're not convicted that you need to go out there and be an amazing marketer, you're likely going to have inconsistency in any business you have, and it's probably going to be hard. And so, dude, I think you're going down the right path. Like dive into every bit of marketing you can, and even what you already know, you're ahead of 98% of all small business owners out there.
That's
And
crazy.
so you already can do things that would add so much value to local businesses. But Tim's a great example. Tim, he was a first ever 2-time carrot camper. Now he works for us full time. He's in San Diego, right? He also has a side hustle helping real estate investors do what he's done, on the AdWords side of things, helping turn Google clicks into checks through Carrot. And so there's a lot of opportunity there, man. And if anyone's listening to this that you're like, you know what? I haven't figured out how to close a lot of deals, but I have figured out the Carrot system. I have figured out marketing. I have figured out all this stuff. We are looking for people that are sharp and that are amazing, that can come in either as contractors with us, or that we can send clients to you if you do great work, or some of them we're even going to bring into something we're creating called the Innovation Lab. They can work side by side with me to do this and create innovations, but also work with our customers. Learn marketing, you've got an open ticket. What part of marketing, dude, do you think, if you had to put your head down and learn, one or two things in marketing in the next 3 to 6 months, what would you want to learn the most in?
Oh man, definitely. I guess creating content. I feel like that's where I'm lacking. But not just creating it, but creating content that actually is valuable to your consumer and
Yep.
that really connects with them.
Yep.
And then building a funnel process through that as well. I feel like there's a lot of things that I don't know about, and
Yep.
that there's like little tricks and stuff that I probably could definitely learn. You don't know what you don't know, but I definitely know I don't know a lot of things. So,
yep. Cool.
Yeah,
and that's really good. And I'll give you a really high level thing here, and this will apply to everybody too. Is kind of my rule of thumb on marketing is this. Okay, the first thing we've got to know is we've got to have an insane understanding of the prospect and who we're talking to, their pains, their fears, their frustrations, their desires, the exact words that they use. So when you're going through the leads that you get, and there's that open box on the step 2 form, that basically is like, hey, tell us about your situation. Tell us why you want to sell. Go read all those. Like, what are the words that they're using? Use those words in your marketing. Use those words in your ads. Use those words when you're talking to people. But the first thing is got to know your prospect inside and out, because once you know your prospect inside and out, now you can talk to them and meet them where they are mentally. The next thing is, if you know where they are mentally, then you go, okay, cool. What would be valuable for them right now to solve the problem I know that they've got? And it could be a report. It could be a free report. It could be a video. It could be just like, hey, here's your offer, and making it as easy as possible, right? But then after they opt in, and then you go, cool. So let's say they opted in. Now what are they likely doing? So I always try to put myself in the shoes of that person. Well, if they just opted in, what they're probably doing is they might be going back to Google, right? Like to maybe look for the next person. So now marketing funnel wise, how do I immediately get in touch with them within a couple minutes so I catch them before they get to the other person? So that's a part of the marketing funnel, right? So as soon as you get that text message from Carrot, tap on their phone number and call or text them really quick, or there are systems out there that can do that for you. The next thing is now comes in the Facebook retargeting side, right? Because now they're already aware of you. Now I go, how do I now make sure that they want to work with me rather than the other options? Well, you put them into a new retargeting bucket on Facebook and show them those testimonial ads you talked about. Show them those other things. You're guiding them down that path. That's just, now I'm dragging them down the marketing funnel even more. And then I could go on this for days and days and days, but now it comes into credibility and stuff like that, right?
So there's the thing about you. So you are so good at, putting your vision out there, and you're so good at creating your culture that, I've said this before, and I don't know if I said it to you, but your values and everything bleeds down into your employees, obviously, but it also bleeds into your customers.
Yeah.
And so when I was going to Carrot Camp, I felt so similar and connected with a lot of them, right? And you've just been able to attract this amazing thing.
Dude, I appreciate that big time, man. That makes me smile. That's why I do what I do, for sure. Well, dude, let's wrap this puppy up. I know you've got things you got to run to as well. You kind of opened that topic on Carrot Camp a little bit. We've got the next Carrot Camp coming up as of the time we're recording this here in a few months. Let's kind of spend a couple minutes on that if you're cool with it. So why did you apply to Carrot Camp? It's not a cheap ticket, right? Like purposefully. We set a high bar, but then we also always have an up-and-comer slot that we want to fill with an amazing person. But why did you come to Carrot Camp versus all the other events that you could go to? What did you get out of Carrot Camp? Like what did you leave Carrot Camp with that you didn't have coming in?
So I applied to Carrot Camp because, I could see the value in surrounding myself with other high-level investors, right? Me being a new up-and-comer, it felt right to be surrounded by and pick the minds of people who are already doing it and who've gone through the struggles that I've gone through. And so there was just so much value there in just connecting with them and networking with them. And I think we have such a good bond at that Carrot Camp. I still talk to so many people. Keith, I just talked to today, and a lot of them have become my friends, and it's just really just a group of people that I know that are going to be around for a long time.
Dude, that was such a good, I mean, they've all been great groups, but like there was something about just the mix of people there. I mean, between the Mississippi boys, Brent and Adam, you guys, there was, Keith Sant, just amazing energy, crushed us on the plank competition. Brian Rockwell, who started out, Rockwell was at that one, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Rockwell, that was his second Carrot Camp. He came back for a second one. He's doing big multifamily deals now. He's just crushing with multifamily since then. And man, Tyler Ford was up here at that one, I believe. And it's all kind of mixing together for me right now, all the different Carrot Camps. It was such a great group, and man, it was fun seeing you there, dude. If guys, if there's anyone who's interested in coming to Carrot Camp, we've got our next one. Like I said, they're always May and September. So go to carrotcamp.com. Carrotcamp.com is where you can go check it out. Apply. Like I said, it's not a cheap ticket. Purposefully, we set a high bar. We want to make sure to attract amazing people who are serious about their businesses and improving their lives. We had lots of life changes that came out of that Carrot Camp, not just business changes. And you can come and meet amazing people like Jonathan, and just the energy, like you said, that you're going to get from the people there, because we all are kind of similar because of the carrot juju that we put out there to the world. I love it. But
drinking the carrot juice. That's
right. And you got the Carrot Army behind you for those who are watching the video version of this. So Jonathan, man, I appreciate that guy to you sharing your story, and just congrats on the success you guys have had this past year and a half. And man, I'm just really excited about things for you moving forward. I know the income side of things where you are now isn't where you personally want to be, but you're on the right path. And I'm so excited for you because things happen fast. Like they do happen fast when things click. And sometimes it takes a little while to have everything click. But once they do, it can happen really fast if you build a business that has the business model that will allow that. So let's connect. Let's stay connected, man. But any parting words for anybody watching or listening to this episode of the Carrot Cast around anything, around Carrot Camp, around just life and business, any parting words of wisdom?
I would say, to people, anybody really starting out, it's really focusing on your inside, who you are, and trying to figure that out first. I know you probably are in a situation where you're trying to generate income or whatever it is, but it won't change unless you change on the inside.
Dude, that's big. I love it. Jonathan, appreciate you, man. Have an amazing rest of the day. Everyone, go subscribe to the Carrot Cast if you're not a subscriber right now. And also, please, we have hundreds and hundreds of 5-star reviews in Apple podcasts, and I read every one of them. It pumps me up. So go over there, leave a review. Let us know how you like this episode, how you like the series, how you like the whole podcast. It pumps me up. I read every single one of them. And so, guys, I appreciate you guys being a part of the community. Jonathan, have an awesome day, and thanks for sharing your story, man. Talk soon, guys.